The space occupied by living world on the Earth is called the biosphere. Last year, we learnt about the factors and the limits of the biosphere. In this lesson, we will look at the factors and their interrelations. Let us study in detail about the soil. The layer of earth which is essential for plants' life and which provides them with nutrients for growth is called soil. Soil is a uniform mixture of fine particles of weathered rock, decayed organic matter, and innumerable microorganisms. Formation of soil. The formation of soil depends mainly on the following factors: parent rock, climate, organic components, slope of land, and time. Different types of soil are formed depending on the climate and the type rock in different regions. Soil formation is an extremely slow process. A very long period of time is required for mature soil to form. Generally, it takes thousands of years for a 1 centimeter thick layer of soil to form. Importance of soil. Soil is a natural resource. 1. Plants make food for them and are used as food by others. Plants get the nutrients they need from the soil. 2. The process of decomposition of the remains of dead plants and animals takes place in the soil. 3. The agricultural productivity of any region depends on the fertility of the soil. We take various measures such as irrigation, use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides in order to increase agricultural production. But if these are used in excess, they reduce the fertility of the soil. This means that they degrade the soil. The effort to bring maximum land under cultivation, overexploitation of farmland, improper methods of farming, excessive cutting down of forests, all of these cause soil erosion. And this results in reducing the productivity of the land. That is why it is extremely necessary to make proper use of the soil, reduce its erosion, and to use organic fertilizers to preserve soil fertility. Now we shall study the classification of living organisms. All living organisms are a part of the biosphere. They are classified as follows according to how they get the food needed for their existence. 1. Plants produce their own food. 2. Animals depend on plants directly or indirectly for food. 3. Microorganisms decompose the remains of plants and animals. You can observe this in the figure. Microorganisms. Their function is very important as they make available to the environment once again the inorganic factors absorbed by the plants. Plants. Natural vegetation in a region depends upon the rainfall, type of soil, as well as the duration and intensity of sunlight. Natural vegetation is mainly classified in the following types. 1. Forests. 2. Grasslands. 3. Arid land. Let us read about each of it in short. 1. Forests. Many types of interdependent plants such as trees, shrubs, creepers and grasses growing together are collectively known as a forest. This includes equatorial evergreen forests, tropical deciduous forests, temperate coniferous forests, and different types of mixed forests. Except grasses and small shrubs, most of the plants live very long, even for hundreds of years. Forest areas are the habitat of various animals. we observe a lot of biodiversity in forests. Equatorial forests show maximum biodiversity as this region receives rainfall all the year round and has a longer duration of bright sunlight. As we move away from the equator, the period of rainfall is reduced and it occurs only in specific seasons. As a result, it is less effective. Plants need to shed leaves in the period when water is scarce. That is why we get deciduous forests in such areas. In such forests, the variety, density, and number of trees all decrease. Naturally, we do not find rhinos, bisons, tigers, elephants, and other animals seen in equatorial forests in these deciduous or mixed forests. Instead, we may come across foxes, wolves, hyenas, porcupines, etc. As we move to the high latitude areas or to regions at higher altitudes, the temperature goes on decreasing. Therefore, though the rainfall is less, the rate of evaporation is also low. As a result, water is available for a longer period in a year. Hence, while moving from deciduous forests to the polar regions or high altitude regions, we come across mixed forests, broad-leaved forests, and coniferous forests. Coniferous forests are also evergreen, but there is less biodiversity in these forests. At times, you may find forests of the same type of tree extending over long distances. 2. Grasslands. Grasslands are found in the tropical and temperate zones. In both these zones, the number of trees has greatly reduced due to low rainfall and deforestation. Water being available only for a limited period, the life cycles of plants is also limited. That is why we find mainly grasses and small shrubs here. Tropical grasslands abound with animals. The grasses too are very tall and thick. A variety of grass called elephant grass can hide even elephants. We see many herbivorous animals like different types of deer, bisons, zebras, giraffes, as well as carnivorous animals like lions, foxes, and wolves in these areas. The grass in the temperate grasslands is not as tall. Scattered in the grasslands are short trees and shrubs. A variety of grass called buffalo grass is mainly seen. These grasslands stretch over extensive areas in the mid-latitudinal zone. We find horses, bisons, foxes, hyenas, wolves, etc. here. 3. Deserts. Regions with a total lack or scarcity of living organisms are known as deserts. As the environment in such regions is not favorable for life, life forms are scarce, and so is human habitation. Deserts are classified into hot deserts and cold deserts. A. Hot deserts. Water is very scarce in such areas. As a result, only plants that can cope with long, dry seasons are seen in hot deserts. They include thorny trees like acacia and various types of cactuses. In order to reduce the loss of moisture through transpiration, these plants remain leafless for a long period during the year. Animals in these regions include horses, camels, ostriches, foxes, hyenas, lions, snakes, scorpions, etc. B. Cold deserts. These are located in the polar regions and very high snow-covered mountains. In the polar region, sunlight is not very strong and the ground remains frozen for a long period. The plants here include algae, lichen, etc. The plants here blossom only for a few weeks in summer. At this time, polar bears, reindeer, caribou, and such other animals from the coniferous forests visit these areas. In winter, they return to the coniferous forests. Let us study about animals in detail. Depending on the climate and natural vegetation, we find different types of animals in different regions of the world. They can be classified according to their habitat and diet. 1. Classes based on the habitat. A. Wild animals. Animals that live in forests and lead a natural life are known as wild animals. They mainly include tigers, lions, wolves, foxes, elephants, rhinos, giraffes, bears, snakes, and many types of birds. B. Domesticated animals. Man has domesticated certain animals for his benefit. We obtain animal products like milk, eggs, meat, wool, hide, bones, etc. from them. Some are used as farm animals and beasts of burden. We keep some animals for protection and some for entertainment. They are all known as domesticated animals. Make a list of such animals in your area and their utility. 2. Classes based on diet. A. Herbivorous animals. Animals that need food of plant origin are called herbivorous animals. They are cows, buffaloes, deer, rabbits, camels, asses, elephants, etc. B. Carnivorous animals. Animals that need to eat the flesh of other animals are called carnivorous animals. They mainly hunt herbivorous animals. Carnivorous animals include tigers, lions, snakes, kites, etc. Some animals, like vultures, are a scavenger. That is, they live on the remains of dead animals. C. Omnivorous animals. Animals that eat foods of both plant origins as well as of animal origin are called omnivorous animals. For example, man, rat, crow. Every plant and animal has a definite role in their environment. If the number of a plant or an animal reduces significantly or increases excessively in a region, it may disturb the balance in environment. Potter's earth and soil. Soils include very fine particles of weathered rocks, partially or completely decayed organic materials, and innumerable microorganisms. Constant interaction goes on between the biotic and abiotic component in soil. Plants get the nutrients they need from their growth from the soil. A soil is an ecosystem, whereas the potter's earth is only a substance. Potter's earth is used for making bricks, pottery, and also in construction. Once used, it is no longer available for reuse. The farmer, however, continues to use the ecosystem of soil for generations. Note that what the farmer uses is a system and what the potter uses is just a substance.